We're starting the activities for lesson 2. We're going to solve word problems together. So let's look at the first one. Lee went to the store and bought books and CDs. Books cost $10 each. CDs cost $15 each. She bought 12 items altogether and spent $155 in total. Let X be defined as the number of CDs that Lee bought. So first we're going to write an expression for the number of books Lee bought. Altogether she bought 12 items, and X of them were CDs. So the number of books will be 12 minus X. Next we're going to write an expression for the amount of money Lee spent on CDs. CDs are $15 each, and she bought X CDs, so we're going to have 15 times X, or 15X. To write an expression for the amount of money Lee spent on books, we'll have 10 being the cost of the book times the number of books Lee bought. We talked about the number of books that Lee bought being 12 minus X, so the expression will be 10 times 12 minus X. Now, all together, we're going to find out how much did Lee spend on books and CDs. So we're going to have the cost of the CDs and the amount of money spent on the books. Add them together. Lee spent $155 altogether. So now we can write an equation. And we will be able to solve for X. In our first step, we can distribute the 10. Then we will combine our like terms. Moving the 120 to the other side. And X is equal to 7. Remember, X was the number of CDs Lee bought, so Lee bought 7 CDs and 5 books, for a total of 12 items. Number 2, Lee went to the store and bought books and CDs. She bought 10 books and 15 CDs. The price of one CD is $2 more than the price of a book. Lee spent $155 in total. This time, X is equal to the price of a book. We're going to write the expression for the price of a CD. So the CD is $2 more than a book. So the price of a CD will be X plus 2. Write an expression for the amount of money Lee spent on books. Lee bought 10 books at a cost of X. So the total spent on books will be 10X. Write an expression for the amount of money Lee spent on CDs. She bought 15 CDs and they cost X plus $2. Altogether, Lee spent 10X on books and 15 times X plus 2 on CDs. Again, we can write an equation with $155 being the total amount Lee spent. We're now going to solve this equation for X. Distribute the 15. And combine our like terms. Solving for X, we see that X is equal to 5. X was defined as the price of a book in dollars, so we know that one book costs $5. The CD is $2 more, so the CD will cost $7. Number 3. Lee went to the store and bought books and CDs. She bought 10 books and 15 CDs. The price of a CD is $2 more than the price of a book. She spent $155 in total. This time we're defining X to be the price of CDs, and now we're going to write an expression for the price of a book. CDs are $2 more, so the expression for the book will be X minus 2. The amount of money that Lee spent on CDs will be the number of CDs times the cost of a CD. The amount of money Lee spent on books will be the number of books times the cost of a book. And altogether, the amount of money Lee spent will be the amount she spent on CDs plus the amount she spent on books. Now we can write an equation using the $155 that Lee spent to find X. Okay, so we're going to distribute the 10 first, and then combine our like terms. Divide both sides by 25, and we find that X is 7. In this problem, X was the price of a CD. So one CD costs $7, and a book costs $2 less, which is 5. Question 4. A man has a 50-foot roll of fencing to make a rectangular kennel. He wants the kennel to be 6 feet longer than it is wide. We're going to follow these steps to find the dimensions of the rectangle. First, we want to define a variable. I sometimes find drawing a picture to help. So I have a rectangle, and I'm thinking that I need to write the width is 6 feet, the length is 6 feet longer than the width. So I'm going to define my W to be the width in feet. My units will be feet. And now I have a rectangle, so I know that the width of each side is the same. And I'm going to use the fact that the length is 6 feet longer than the width to write an expression for the length. So the length will be W plus 6. Now we can write an expression for the perimeter, because the fence will be going around the perimeter of the rectangle. So that's going to be the width plus the length plus the width plus the length. That will give us width plus 6W plus W plus W plus 6. And we can clean that up by combining our like terms. So we have 4 W's plus 12. And finally, we're going to write and solve an equation. 4W plus 12 will equal 50. 50 is the length of fencing I have available. And we're going to subtract 12 from both sides so we can solve for W. If 38 equals 4W, W is going to be equal to 9.5 feet. So if our W is 9.5 feet, we can find the length of our rectangle because the length is the W plus 6. So if we add 6 to 9.5, we find that the length is 15.5 feet. Question 5. This one's a calculator active problem. Example 3. The price of a 7-day Alaskan cruise is normally $2,752 per person. It's going to be reduced by $1.75 per person for large groups. We're going to follow the steps to determine how many people are needed for the price to be $2,500 per person. Define a variable. To define a variable, I look back to see what the question was. The question asks how many people are needed. So I'm going to define my variable to be X is equal to the number of people in our group. Let's find an expression for in terms of X for the discount. The discount is $1.75 per person. So our discount is going to be 1.75 times the number of people, which is X. So 1.75X. Now, to write an expression in terms of X for the discounted cost of the cruise per person, we'll have the original cruise price, $2,752, minus the discount, 1.75X. The last step is that we want to figure out how many people we need to take in order to have our cruise price be discounted to $2,500. So we're going to write our discounted cost of our cruise and equal it to $2,500, and then solve for x. So we'll subtract 2,752 from both sides. And divide, then we'll be able to divide both sides by negative 1.75. We find out that x is equal to 144. So looking at the variable that we defined, x is the number of people we need. So we have 144 people we need for our price to be $2,500.